Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in the show, Tzu Chi volunteers in Jordan are distributing food, relief supplies, and others to refugees from Syria. As food shortage is becoming a problem worldwide, we take a look at how it is affecting the lives of people in Taiwan. Also in Taiwan, we meet the Guo family in the city of Tainan who are still making the traditional pan-fried cakes. As the civil war in Syria continues, nearly 150,000 refugees have been forced to flee to Jordan, where they live without water or electricity. Local Tzu Chi volunteers have been on site to distribute food and relief supplies. At the latest distribution, the volunteers also handed out school bags and stationery to help children continue on with their studies.
As they receive school bags and stationery from the Tzu Chi volunteers, these children, mostly refugees from Syria, are balls of excitement. In Jordan, there are around 150,000 refugees from Syria. Tzu Chi volunteers continue to bring care and supplies to the refugees scattered from Mafraq in the north to Abbasi in the south. Every household receives rice, sugar, split peas, tea leaves, and cooking oil.
This Tzu Chi sister is from Taiwan.
In Jordan, there are less than 50 overseas Chinese in total. To distribute aid supplies to over 700 households, the volunteers depend on the local volunteers and refugees working together. Some children also wanted to help. The way Tzu Chi gives to the needy is in resonance with the fourth pillar of Islam, zakat. Many of the needy cherish the affinity and come to pick up their supplies with the same bags used at last year's distribution. For these refugees, they now realize that these blue and white clad Tzu Chi volunteers will always be around for them.
In the Philippines' Quezon City, Tzu Chi volunteers not only regularly bring care to local residents, but also conduct free clinics. The latest free clinics was held at the Malaya Elementary School. Residents, young or old, all came to receive medical care. Here's more.
Moving medical equipment onto the site, Tzu Chi volunteers again holds a free clinic in Quezon City, a location of numerous past fires. Volunteers wipe chairs clean to get the free clinic site ready. Many residents are already in line to see a doctor. Among them are Lillian and her daughter. Doctors prescribe a pair of glasses for the mother and also fill a cavity for her daughter.
They are all respectful. Like in the case of my daughter, they helped her calm down by entertaining her so that she was not scared. That was what I noticed.
While the patients are waiting, Tzu Chi volunteers introduce their blankets made from plastic bottles. Moved by the volunteers' devotion, the residents make donations, and some of them even take a bamboo coin bank to help promote Tzu Chi's ideal in the future.
I thought that since I work as a cab driver, I would just put a coin bank on the dashboard, so whoever wants to donate can. They can learn the purpose of the coin bank and spread Tzu Chi's ideals.
The former mayor of Quezon City also comes to express his gratitude to Tzu Chi.
We are thankful to God as we were given the chance to serve those in need. So I would like to take the occasion to thank Tzu Chi volunteers, especially Master Zheng Yan. All of you, I'm really thankful.
The free clinic helps poor residents receive treatment and improve their lives. At the end of the clinic, one Tzu Chi volunteer handed out a certificate of appreciation to thank the local doctors for their devotion to the cause.
Staying in the Philippines Tzu Chi chapter held a charity sale, and many Filipino volunteers offered their assistance in preparation for the event. The event was joined by many local residents from housewives to teachers, where everyone could find items at a good bargain.
After learning about Tzu Chi's charity bazaar, Many factory owners donated goods for the bazaar. Local volunteers proactively offer their assistance, from cleaning the surrounding area to washing second-hand clothing.
If the sale items look clean and neat, it will attract more people to buy them.
The charity bazaar took place in the morning and many nearby residents turned out to participate. School teacher Arnold Ramos was extremely happy at having bought a television and speakers for below $80, which was half the price that he would have paid at a second-hand market.
This will be very helpful for showing films in class, and I can use these in lectures with regards to electricity and electronic videos.
Budget-conscious housewives seized the opportunity to select household appliances. Marissa Martinez found the cookbook that she had been looking for.
Apart from the good quality of the items here, the prices are also relatively cheap.
Through this charity bazaar, we really feel the importance of appreciating, cherishing, and cultivating blessings.
The money raised from the charity bazaar will contribute towards Tzu Chi's 4 missions and be utilized for the benefit of others.
Around the world, as extreme weather patterns become even more common, the world's food supplies is increasingly under threat. Unfortunately, almost 70% of Taiwan's food is imported. Therefore, rising costs on imports are being directly transformed to small business owners and the public. In our next report, we take a look at how the threat of food shortages has become an almost yearly problem and how this is affecting the average citizen in Taiwan.
With 20 years of experience in bread making, every loaf that comes out of the oven here is the perfect consistency. Fillings are then added to make every bite a winner. These are just a part of the dozen of different baked goods this bakery bakes fresh every day. However, the profit from each barely covers the high cost of raw materials.
Over the last 2 years, prices have fluctuated and continually gone up. Before, flour was about $200 NT, now it is $500 NT. Prices only go up, never down.
Each ladle of flour costs money, and that doesn't even include the sugar and oil that is also needed. If it is imported, it is expensive. For Li's wife, she knows how dependent they are on good harvests.
I am worried about global warming and similar problems that in the future might drive the cost of ingredients even higher.
And even with all their scrimping and saving, consumers find their purchasing power can only go so far.
Usually I buy 2 or 3 for a total of $100 NT or less, but now it is more. It costs $130 or even $200 NT.
With costs high, I pay more, but there's no way around it. We need to buy those daily essentials. After all, we all need to eat.
With 30 years of experience in the buying and selling of grains and beans, Wu Siyuan is familiar as anyone with the trend of price hikes.
For example, with the drought in the US, the soybean harvest was poor, so soybean prices recently have risen by a lot. They have risen by about 20%. All the flood in Thailand flooded many sugarcane plantations and factories. I remember when I was young, we used to plant green beans and peanuts, but now all of that is imported. If there is a natural disaster somewhere in the world, worldwide prices will fluctuate, and prices here will go up as well. Before the year 2000, the number of extreme weather events worldwide was about 40 cases a year. After 2000, that number rose to 50 or above cases. So there's an obvious rise in frequency. We have seen that the degree of droughts in Asia exceeds the degree of droughts in other areas of the world. If those droughts continue to worsen, it will have a direct effect on rice production in the region.
Crops are usually the first victims in any extreme weather event. With food shortages ever on the horizon, with the rapid expansion of the world's population in the 20th century, in 2011, the world's population stood at 7 billion, and the UN estimates that by 2050, that number will reach 9 billion. With farmland being devolved into industrial areas and extreme weather patterns devastating crops, when you add in another 2 billion mouths to feed, the threat of a food shortage crisis is not just empty talk.
A food crisis is no longer something that happens every 30 years or so, but now happens every 1 to 2 years. The world needs to deal with the problem of food shortages, as does Taiwan, which currently has 220,000 hectares of farmland that is fallow.
To deal with the possibility of massive food shortages, several countries have taken preemptive steps to protect themselves. Taiwan's food self-sufficiency rate, however, is only 30%.
The importance of this is that it tells us that as we face climate change worldwide, if one day these changes cause a huge reduction in grain supply and we can no longer import food, at that time we only have 32% of our food needs meat. So we need to think of how to get that other 68%.
Rice is the only grain that Taiwan grows, but the country still needs to import 140,000 tons of rice to meet consumer needs. The danger of food shortages is already becoming a reality, and for Taiwan, that relies on food imports to feed much of its population, the future seems set to bring many challenges.
In Taiwan, Hualien Tzu Hospital and Tzu University both offer seminars based on the topic of standardized patients. The purpose of the seminar is to make sure these soon-to-be doctors know how to interact with their patients. This time, the seminar was attended by volunteers from the ages of 35 to 50 years old. Among the volunteers was head nurse Peng Shuyuan, who hopes to improve the relationship between doctors and their patients. Using exaggerated facial expression and body gestures to express their feelings, today the volunteers are learning how to be a standardized patient in a way that will help doctors when they are in consultation with patients. Among the participants is head nurse Peng Shuyuan.
I used to be a patient and have seen doctors before about my sickness. I think the relationship between doctor and patient will have an influence on whether I can get the treatment I need in a smooth manner. I want to help the doctors so they can enjoy good relationships with their patients.
Hualien Tzu Hospital and Tzu University held a joint training seminar based on the topic of standardized patients, with the purpose of helping doctors learn how to interact with different types of patients. The seminar also helped those who are preparing for the upcoming medical licensing examination.
Now, interacting with simulated patients is part of the medical licensing exam. The purpose is to make sure students not only remember their medical knowledge, but also have the skills to interact with patients.
Other than joining the performance class as part of the training, the volunteers also attend classes to make sure they have sufficient medical knowledge. Through the seminars, the volunteers hope to help doctors improve their relationship with their patients, thus improving overall care. A college student in Taiwan recently began experiencing double vision and went to Taichung Tzu Hospital to get it checked out. What the doctors discovered was that it was not a problem with his eye, but a tumor growing underneath his eyeball that was causing his double vision. To remove his tumor, the doctor decided to go for a minimally invasive surgery.
This 20-year-old college student stands tall at 180 centimeters and strong at over 100 kilograms. However, recently, he found his eyesight had started to deteriorate.
I will have double vision and teary eyes.
His eyes would even turn upward and he suffered facial paralysis.
After a CT scan, the doctor found the patient had a tumor 8 centimeters in diameter, the size of a tennis ball, underneath his left eye.
Maxillary sinus should be an air cavity, but his was filled with a tumor which was putting pressure on his eye, causing him to have double vision.
To make things worse, doctors discovered that his tumor was a rare type of vascular tumor called hemangiopericytoma.
This type of tumor is vascular in origins, which means during operation there might be massive blood loss, so that could cause a problem. Normally, the surgical plan is to lift the face off and remove the tumor, but after factoring in the young man's age and future, so we decided to do a minimally invasive surgery with an endoscope through the nose to remove the tumor.
Inducing vascular thrombosis, and by performing endoscopic surgery, the nerves around the eyes were not harmed nor scarred. The doctor says the cause for his hemangiopericytoma is unknown and may be related to his eating habits and sleeping patterns. The patient said that once recovered, he will eat healthy and go to bed at normal hours, ensuring this won't happen again.
In the early days, after a woman gave birth, their mother or mother-in-law would make a special pancake out of flour, cooking oil, malt sugar, and other ingredients as a healthy and nutritious dish to recover from giving birth. In our feature reports on Taiwan's fading trades, we meet the Guo family who still make these traditional cakes in Tainan and see how the bakery is keeping their family close together.
This traditional cake is made for mothers who just gave birth. The cake is sweet and crunchy, but it is also not easy to make.
When the pot is hot, we add sesame oil. Second, I make a hole in the middle of the cake, mix it with eggs, and add it inside the cake. Then, let it cook slowly.
The traditional pan-fried cake with the smell of sesame oil can only be found in Tainan nowadays.
We'll use a bowl to put alcohol inside. That's what my grandma taught me.
Before, my mother-in-law was really nice, yet she used to make them for me, and they were particularly delicious. Of course, I miss it now. She has passed on. In the old days, there wasn't much to eat, so this was a luxury.
The white one is called a white cake, and the black one is made from brown sugar. Every bite reminds one of the love of their mother and mother-in-law. However, to buy these traditional cakes, one now has to travel to this store in Tainan.
This is brown sugar. It has some crystallization that we need to ship out. You add cooking oil and flour. It will take about 10 minutes. Then from experience, I will add some water later.
10分钟，然后再自己看经验，再加水这样。需要手劲哎。
It needs to rise for an hour before cutting it. The tighter we make it, the better it will look.
然后咱感觉看得较水。
15 minutes. When my dad was making it, it didn't look as beautiful because the melt sugar was too heavy, so we took some of that out to add cooking oil with it.
The third-generation owner, Guo Nai-ren, searched for ways to make the cake float in hot temperatures. With a family tradition of adding no chemical additives, Guo did not give up in trying to make the cake with natural ingredients.
If a customer comes to buy our cake and we are sold out, they will come again and ask when more will be available. The more often we are asked, the more embarrassed we are, so we have to make them.
It was also because Guo wanted to fulfill his father's wish that he was motivated to remain in the industry.
Every time my father spoke, he always moved me deeply with his words. Back in the old days, people always thought it was important that a family stays together.
This traditional store is like a string, pulling the Guo family closer together, as they all vow to continue making these traditional cakes for as long as they can.
In our next report, we take a look at the story of Pan Yuxiang, who is one of the winners of this year's 10 Outstanding Young Persons Award. To help our planet become a greener place, Pan has been reworking the traditional LED light to solve the problems of glare and heat. In his quest, he even has given up his job as a civil servant, so he has more time to work on his innovations. Here's more. Holding a LED lamp is Pan Yuxiang, who's concerned about the environment.
The purpose is to decrease carbon emissions and increase sustainable development. We need to make efficient use of our resources. The LED and CFL are both efficient in reducing carbon emissions. However, the CFL contains mercury. It is efficient but poisonous too.
Back in his university years, Pan Yuxiang actually majored in politics. However, after joining the anti-6 naphtha cracker movement, he started to focus on the environment and even quit his job as a civil servant.
I started to raise questions and started to value the importance of the environment after joining the anti-6 naphtha cracker movement. Those questions have guided me to this point, and I'm still working on sustainable development in all types of industries.
LED lights save energy, however, they cannot radiate heat properly, thus increasing their chance of breaking. Pan has been working to make the lifespan of the LED lights longer, so they are more economically efficient. Can anyone guess what this blackboard is? This is actually an animated pedestrian signal in Taipei City. Just by replacing the traditional light bulbs with LED lights, in just a year, the energy saved will be equal to that produced by half a nuclear power plant.
Mass production actually causes a lot of waste. It is actually a burden for our planet.
Other than being bad at radiating heat, LED lights also cause glare. To solve this problem, Pan Yuxiang invented a special prism. Now, without the glare, the lighting range of the LED lights has increased. Pan's invention has attracted potential customers from Japan and Australia. He even received recognition from the inventor of the LED light, who invited Pan to join an exhibition in the United States. Currently, Pan Yuxiang is working to incorporate solar power and LED lights, hoping to create a greener alternative for our lighting needs. At the end of the show, we stay in Taiwan, where Zhongli Tzu Chi volunteers held a bone marrow drive. Many of the participants came with their families. Among them was Zhang Jiarui, who joined the event hoping to fulfill his father's wish of saving people. Meanwhile, the event was also joined by new immigrant Ran Shiyun, who also wanted to contribute her share to help those in need. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.